Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from Bloomberg that was published on May 1st and is by John Larman. Now, see, they really want to try to milk what's going on with the current pandemic for every freaking thing it's worth. All right. And they're drawing out the inevitable. Because you look at Sweden, they didn't shut shit down. They took the people that were at risk. They took the sick. And those were the ones who were quarantined. Well, everyone's life went on. Nothing was shut down. You know, they went through their thing of just dealing with shit day to day. They didn't have any more cases. They didn't have any more deaths. They didn't have anything like that. And now their people are prepared to deal with this by keeping us locked up, because the idea is, you know, you want to expose yourself to things to build up an immunity to them, you know, when it comes to, say, viruses and germs and things like that. Yeah, they want this to go on for a very long time. I mean, they were talking 18 months when this first started. They didn't know shit. But this was also when they were claiming that, you know, the U.S. was going to see at this point like 2 million deaths. So, yeah, look at the title here. You know, Wu flu pandemic likely to last 2 years, report says. 2 years. We went from 18 fucking months at the beginning of this shit to, now it's going to be 2 years unless we get the vaccine or we do this, that, or the other thing. It's going to be 2 years. Well, you know what gets me about this whole thing? First and foremost, okay? The Spanish flu, okay? There was a pandemic. It went over. It flared up, went down, flared up. I mean, it happened over an extended period to an extent because they didn't have travel as we know it today, where, you know, you can hop on a plane and hours later be in another country. So it took time. So you would see, you know, flare up in one place. All right. And then it would go from there to another, and it would take longer. So you'd have multiple flare-ups with this pandemic. I mean, you did have infections in large areas like, you know, Western Europe and, say, the United States were happening at the same time because there was a lot of travel between the two places. But it didn't reach global efficacy. That would be the right word. For an extended period. And you had a lot of asymptomatic people. You know, they didn't show any signs. You know, you had, you know, not only asymptomatic who were, you know, fighting the disease, but you had typhoid Mary types that were just carriers. And they were bringing it about. The world didn't shut down. The world continued moving on. And those who were sick and those who were at risk were quarantined. And yes, a lot of people died, but a lot of that also had to do with the fact of things like sanitation, okay, affecting people's immune system. See, now we're in better conditions because we have proper sanitation, we have proper hygiene. I mean, they had sanitation and hygiene back then, but a lot of people didn't practice it compared to today. I mean, you do have those people that don't wash their stanky ass, okay, that don't follow proper hygiene. But they're far fewer numbers than, say, you know, a century ago. So, with that being the case, all right, life continued back then. Now they want us to lock up for 2 years until we reach 2/3 of the population being, you know, immune to it. But, yeah. Anyway, let's look at this Bloomberg article here pushing this shit because, you know, Bloomberg himself and a lot of the people who work for him, they don't have to worry about putting food on the table. They don't have to worry about paying for mortgages. You know, they don't have to worry about making sure that, you know, their kids can get braces or anything like that. But so, yeah, anyway. The Wu flu pandemic is likely to last as long as 2 years and won't be controlled until about 2/3 of the world's population is immune, a group of experts said in a report. Well, here's the thing. By putting everyone into this lockdown and locking down the healthy people, when you look at the fact of once you take into antibody tests and everything else, this has a death rate lower than the actual flu that's the honest to God result. They don't want you to realize this and know this, that if you look at the actual infection rates, not as deadly. It spreads like wildfire, but it's not nearly as deadly. I'm not saying it isn't serious, especially with the earlier strains of it, because it seems to have mutated to weaker versions of itself. But it's especially, serious for older people. It's, for the immunocompromised as well. I'm not playing that down. I'm just saying the actual results, the numbers, do not bear out to what they were claiming. And you basically just prolonged everything by having everyone locked up. Good job there, people. Because of its ability to spread from people who don't appear to be ill, the virus may be harder to control than influenza, the cause of most pandemics in recent history, according to a report from the Centers for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. People may actually be at their most infectious before symptoms appears, according to the report. Well, here's the thing. Like I mentioned earlier, the Spanish flu, which they've now tried to rename, because if you refer to this particular virus by its origin, they don't want to have you do that, because the CCP has a bunch of people sucking their dick for money and doing their bidding. But basically, the Spanish flu epidemic, like I said, there were a lot of asymptomatic people, and there were also people who were just carriers of it. So how is that any different? It really isn't. I mean, I love how they're trying to portray this as, oh God, the sky is falling. You need to have your lives put on hold for 2 years. You need to be locked up, or at least until we get 2/3 of the population inoculated. So what if we're going to rush these vaccines through and they're not going to be really tested or anything like that? This is ridiculous. After locking down billions of people around the world to minimize its spread through countries, governments are now cautiously allowing businesses and public places to reopen. Yet the Wu flu pandemic is likely to continue in waves that could last beyond 2022, the authors said. Well, of course, they want to put that fear there. They don't want this to be something that will go away once we have this situation. See, this is what's funny is they didn't do this stuff with bird flu, H1N1, or anything like that. And now because of this, it's not really any different. Same type of situation. It just spreads quicker. Doesn't necessarily have the killing ability of previous, pandemics. And they're basically trying to milk this as if it's even more serious, and have people sit here going, no, well, let's crawl back into our holes and keep the, bury ourselves in and just lock ourselves away. That's what they want with this. This is about fear. This right here is to push this idea of be afraid. Be very afraid. Be paranoid afraid. We want to use this situation and exploit it and make it seem more serious than what it is, which I'm not playing down the seriousness of it by saying that, but they want to make it seem even more serious. Okay, so that they can try to manipulate and control the general population. And it's getting a little sad. It's getting a little pathetic, because no matter how much they try to do this, people are just going to get sick and tired of being locked up in their homes, and they're going to be fed up, and they're going to be done, and they're not going to deal with it anymore. Anyway, risk communication messaging from the government officials should incorporate the concept that this pandemic will not be over soon, they said, and that people need to be prepared for possible periodic resurgences of the disease over the next 2 years. Well, of course, you want the government to push this bullshit because because I'm sure that these people behind this are probably lefties. It's probably like ACT CO, 19now.org, that site. They were the ones behind all the ridiculous numbers, like 2 million people being dead right now. All right. And it said right on their website, excuse me. And no, I don't have it with that cough. But anyway, they said that they weren't about accuracy. They were about, causing action. That's what the left is about. And I'm sure that there is some motivation beyond being honest here to cause action. They want to use this because evil, bad Trump. If they lock down the country for 2 years, all right, that puts it into the next part of the next term. And if they manage to get like senile old Biden in or whatever, let's just say they did, he could then turn around and be like, look, I've straightened shit out. Oh, yeah. Like, they want to actually, no, they wouldn't do that because they wouldn't keep it that long. What they would do is they would wait until Trump lost and then go, oh, well, we were wrong. Everyone opened up shit. We want everything full open. Yeah, see, that would actually probably play out better for them in the short term. Because they don't want to fuck Biden the first 2 years. So I'll go with that instead. That's what they would probably do. Now that I think about it. They would definitely do that. The second Biden, they would wait a month maybe. Go, oh yeah, look at he's clamped down, maybe 2 tops. And then they would go, look, he's got it all under control. Let's open shit up again. Developers are rushing to make vaccines that may be available in small quantities as early as this year. While large amounts of vaccine against the 2009-2010 flu pandemic didn't become available until after the outbreak peaked in the U.S. One study has estimated that the shots prevented as many as 1.5 million cases and 500 deaths in that country alone, the report said. Ooh, 500 deaths. And maybe as many as 1.5 million cases. You know they're grasping at fucking straws when they're like, maybe as many. They don't have any fucking concrete proof, so they're pulling shit out of their ass. Okay, when it's been a proven fact that the last round of like flu vaccines with the pandemics and shit were not strong enough to give an immunity to the fucking disease. So yeah, I highly doubt it prevented 1.5 million cases when a lot of these, vaccines weren't strong enough to actually immunize you from those particular strains of flu. Yeah, nice try there. Saying, oh, as many as. Yeah, Yeah, this is ridiculous. The report was written by CIDRAP director Michael Osterholm and medical director Kristen Moore, Tulane University public health historian John Barry, and Mark Lipswich, an epidemiologist at the Harvard School of Public Health. Yeah? So, what do they want? A cookie? A fucking, award? What do they want? Participation medal? That doesn't mean shit. Just because they've got some fucking credentials like Tulane University and Harvard doesn't mean shit. Because you know what? Harvard, because of, say, things like lineages going there, have let some real dumb fuckers in. Yale's done the same thing. I mean, look at W. All right, his daddy went to Yale. All right, his daddy, articulate, intelligent, conniving, backstabbing CIA scumbag. His son, dopey dipshit dumb fuck, and he got into Yale. What does that tell you? So that doesn't mean shit. All right, Obama was smoking pot and being a fucking dumb, fucking obliterated fucking pothead, all right, through his collegiate career. And he went to a decent school. What the fuck does that tell you? I mean, come on now. But anyway, I mean, you look at this shit. They want this to go on for 2 years. They want, or at least if Trump remains in office, they want this to go on for 2 years. If, say, Biden were to win, they would end it a month or two into his presidency. Oh, wow, he got in, he took control, and look, we're all nice and safe now. Let's open shit up. Let's go. Because they would need to make him look good. All right? Trust me on that. That's something they would do. I mean, anyway. I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.